Hi guys, I'm Angela Bolaje, yeah, and I'm your image etiquette lifestyle coach. Won't I sound crazy to you? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Angela Bolaji, your image etiquette and lifestyle coach, and today I'll be discussing 10 myths about etiquette and elegance. 10 myths about etiquette and elegance. So I'll be starting with two which I have discussed previously on my Instagram page. So I have two videos on Instagram already talking about each of these two that I'm about to do a recap on now. The first is the myth that etiquette is a foreign concept. So when most people hear about etiquette or the concept of etiquette and elegance, they shy away because they think it is something that people put together to dominate them. Some foreigners came together and said, oh, this is how you should do this and that, and it's really not so I like to just let you know or remind those of you who already know about this that it is not a foreign concept. The name might be foreign, it might be a French name, but then it's not for the French people or the British people or the American people only. There are different rules for different societies and different communities. So it's all about understanding and navigating each of these societies properly. Now, the second one, which I've also discussed before, is the myth that you have to, yes, the myth that you have to be corporately dressed before you can observe decorum, before you can, be put together and comported. And this is also really wrong because it's not a function of your suit and tie or your pumps or your pencil skirt. It's just really understanding that, okay, some things are just plain offensive. Your suit and tie is not what makes you in the mood or in that space. So even if you're at the beach or you're at a picnic with friends, you still don't want to reach over people's food, get what you want. That's still wrong. So it's not only as a formal dinner setting or during a corporate meeting or a business lunch that you remember that you shouldn't do things like that. So even when you're amongst friends, even when you're chilling with your guys, you can be chill and all, but you still do not want to, break some certain rules. So be comfortable, be free, but you still don't want to do some things. There are just some things you will not do. So that's why I said every society has the rules that work for it. Now I'll be moving on to the remaining 8, starting with number 3 now. And the third myth is that etiquette, elegance, the whole concept is only for wealthy people. Now, it's a very wrong assumption, and that's why I'm calling it a myth. Basically, most people have this opinion because they've seen, okay, upper class cultures, how things are done in certain societies, upper class societies. But at the end of the day, everything has a fundamental basis for whatever is being done. And in this regard, before you start to talk about upper class cultures and how they do things in certain settings, you need to understand the basics. So when I talk about the basics, I'm talking about, the simple day-to-day things that you need to know when relating with people, developing good networking skills, good communication skills. It's not a function of how wealthy you are. So it's not a thing exclusive to wealthy people. Learning to talk properly, to walk properly, to sit properly, to eat properly is not a function of wealth. So it's about the value you're adding to yourself as a human being. So irrespective of what your bank account balance might be, you still need to learn certain things that give you an edge in society. Now, the fourth thing, which a lot of people actually assume, is that you have to wear designer clothing for you to be deemed as someone who is elegant. And this is also very wrong. Now, today, I'm wearing a dress I bought at Balogo Market. It wasn't expensive, or it isn't expensive rather. I just paired it with one or two things and all. But I'm doing this to make you understand that it's not a function of you wearing the expensive clothes. It's not about the YSLs and the LVs and the Pradas and all that. So you need to understand that it's beyond all that. So don't go bending over backwards trying to buy designer wear, and then you buy fake, and then you see your t-shirt with the Versace logo on it and you feel like, yes, I've arrived. It's not necessary. Really, just stick to good looking stuff. Just look clean, look neat, look put together. There are some fabrics that are cheap but don't look cheap. Try to do your research on them, understand how you can get them and pair them together. Just be deliberate about looking sharp. Don't be focused or fixated on buying designer wear and all those flashy stuff, and then you have so many logos and patterns and you just end up looking real tacky. You don't need to do that to yourself. All right, so the next one, which is number 5, this myth is that the whole concept of etiquette and elegance is boring. And believe me, I totally understand where people who think this way are coming from, because there's a certain notion about what etiquette is about being very stringent and living this straight jacket life. But truth be told, it is a lot of fun if you understand. I keep talking about learning how to navigate society, and this is what I mean. It's interesting to learn how things operate in different countries, in different cultures. Okay, how do you drink wine here? How do you hold your cutlery here? How do you greet here, there? At the end of the day, it's understanding what works in different settings. So if you're someone who has learned to navigate different aspects of society, you'll be having so much fun with all of this. So by all means, go on adventures, chill with friends, do crazy stuff, have fun, if you want to go bungee jumping. At the end of the day, just understand that nobody's restricting you to a life of boredom. Rather, it actually exposes you to so much more. So instead of you seeing it as confinement and constraints, it's actually more exposure if you understand how things work. Now, number 6, which is somehow similar to the first myth I talked about, that some people are of the opinion that it's only for formal outings and formal settings. So it's until you're going for a gala, or you're going for a formal dinner, a business dinner, or you're going on a very important date, and that is when, okay, I can now dress well, be elegant. That's when I should now bring my A game on. I remember that, yes, the fork is on this side, the knife is on this side. They said no, it's not just about that. So understand that in and out of the formal environments, there are just certain rules, certain things you should know to do. I keep talking about things like shunting cues and being rude to people, and there's always something. Every area of society has a rule of etiquette attached to it, and when it comes to elegance, even the most basic things are important. So at the end of the day, you don't consider the fact that I'm not going anywhere important, Jerry, maybe rough arm. No, don't do that. Be deliberate about how you portray or present yourself. It's extremely important. Now, that being said, I'll be moving to the 6th point, and this one makes me laugh. In fact, this is my most interesting point. I probably should have made it number 10, but let's just address it now. And this myth is that you have to develop a foreign accent if you want to prove that you're elegant, or if you want to show that you can fit into certain societies and all that. And this is very funny. So imagine if I come here now, yes, today, and then I start by saying, hi guys, I'm Angela Bola J, yeah, and I'm your image etiquette lifestyle coach. Won't I sound crazy to you? And then some people will even go as far as, down is even, yes, so I just wanted to tell you that I'm going to, it's not necessary. Don't do that to yourself. Speak like a normal human being. You do not need to adapt some foreign accents to try to fit in. What is important really is your vocabulary and how articulate you are. So just understand that it's the diction, not the accent. Don't go all trying to form what is not, and then you mix British with American and Japanese and everything, and you end up sounding ridiculous. So own who you are, own where you're from. It's if you do not have an accent, don't borrow one and then destroy everyone in the process. But just learn to speak properly, and speaking properly is not a function of the accent. In fact, there are other people who have foreign accents who have lived outside of the country for a long time, and then their command of English is still bad. So it's not about the accent, it's way beyond that. Alright, the next one is the myth that you have to pretend, or that people who, decide to develop a deliberate lifestyle of elegance, people who decide to develop a deliberate lifestyle of following the rules of etiquette are pretentious, or that if you want to start this, you have to be ready to pretend. No, it's a gradual process. You learn and then you grow into it. So it's not, oh, fake it, fake it, fake it. You have to start from somewhere till you make it to the point where you're steady with this particular thing. So don't pretend and then you start telling lies, and then you say you live in Banana Island when you live in Mushin. And then the point is, most times when people insult people who live in certain parts because they lie that they lived in certain other parts, it's not because really they are mocking you for living where you live. The mockery wouldn't come if you did not put yourself out there. Nobody really cares about knowing you live in Mushin, you live in Ajigo. Nobody cares about that. But the moment you start telling lies, I live in VI, I do this, I that. Why? You don't need to pretend. You don't need to tell lies. Be true to who you are, and it doesn't make you less of a person. And it doesn't matter where you're coming from. It doesn't matter where you live, what your background is like. In fact, it doesn't matter what school you went to. What's important is how well you're working on yourself to become better. So at the end of the day, people only have issues with people who pretend to have or be who they are not, or what they are not. But there's absolutely nothing wrong in you being the best version of yourself. In you being very enlightened, being smart, speaking well, being eloquent, being bold, irrespective of where you're from. In you carrying yourself well, even if you have only one pair of pants and one shirt, if you're always keeping it in good shape, well ironed, crisp and all that, and then you carry yourself with so much confidence. But when you start telling lies and forming to be what you're not, that's where the issue is. So it's not about pretending, it's not about forming. Really, it's about gradual improvement. Gradual improvement. Then the next one, which is number 9. This is mostly for the ladies, I think. Yes, if we're going by the norms, I don't know, but this is basically for the ladies. And this is the myth that, oh, you have to wear makeup, or your elegance is in the makeup. No spirit comes upon you the moment you put on makeup, all of a sudden, yeah, I'm not elegant. Nah, it doesn't work that way. It is not a function of makeup. So even when you're not wearing makeup, even when you're just casually chilling, or you're just moving from place to place, or even if you said, okay, yes, I'm going out today and I do not want to wear makeup, it doesn't diminish you. It's not the makeup that makes you elegant. It's not the makeup that makes you who you are, or brings out the shine or the poise in you. So you have to put makeup aside. You need to be confident in your own skin, and that is very important. Any lady who cannot go out without makeup needs to pack all her makeup into one safe space and work on her self-confidence, and understand that you're beautiful and you're elegant with or without it. So it's just an option if I want to just do something different, if I want to spice up this look. But that is not what makes you elegant. So automatically, don't think that, okay, the moment I have makeup on, everything is solved. Work on making sure that your dressing is good, your self-confidence is in check, the way you speak is on point. It's not, the makeup doesn't save you from being seen through. So understand that. And now the final one, which is actually also a big deal, is the fact that there's this notion that, oh, this whole thing is for snobs, or people who decide that they want to take this journey seriously are snobs, and they feel like they're better than everybody else. And it goes to it. First of all, don't go into it and think that, yes, now yes, I know this, I know that, I have spoken to this person, I am better than you, and unnecessary pride. Humility is key. In fact, humility is a fundamental rule for everything else. And don't go about feeling like you're better than other people. Don't go about feeling like you can talk down on people, or I can't talk to certain people, they are not of my class, they're not of my level. Which level? Who do you think you are? Don't deceive yourself. You're not better than anybody else. You might have better opportunities, you might be in certain places that other people are not, but it doesn't make you a better human being than they are. Remember that when you speak with people, when you speak to people, when you relate with people. Then the other side to it is you judging people because, oh, you feel like, so now this person feels like, because she's better than us. Most times it's our complex that is toying with our mind. So someone is really just doing things that we all should be doing, like walking tall. I remember I once had this issue. I enrolled in a new school at some point, and I would just walk the way really you should walk. Shoulder square, stand properly, work properly, and then people just did not like me. She's proud. She's like, you never even spoken with me before. How do you know I am proud? And then someone actually told one of my friends that, oh, I don't like that lady, and she was like, quiet, and the way she walks. Okay, what's wrong with the way she walks? And just the way she walks, she feels she's better than everybody. How can you deduce that from my work? I think I'm better than everybody. You also need to check yourself and ensure that you do not have a complex, that you're not hating on people because they're really just carrying themselves well. So do not assume that everyone that's not doing what you're doing is a snob or is just trying to show that they're better than you. They might actually just be, doing the right things or actually following the rules, and you might be the one who needs to either up your game, learn from them. Sometimes learn instead of judging, instead of insulting, instead of hating. It will do you a lot of good. And that being said, we have come to the end, or we have partially come to the end of this discussion, because I want to hear from you too. So if you have any questions, comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share this video, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so now. Also, you can turn on your post notifications, so if I have any new video up, you get to see it immediately. Thank you so much for your time.